Once again, Alabama finds itself at the top of a very bad list, the rate of women killed by men. That's according to a study released last month by the Violence Policy Center. Alabama ranked number 2 out of all 50 states. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and there's an event coming up to help get the word out. Jeremiah Knight is the Director of Customer Care for Verizon Wireless in Alabama, and Lauren Hatchett is a University of Alabama student. They're here to tell us about Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Thanks for being with us today.
You're very welcome.
So, Lauren, talk a little bit about Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. It's coming up in just a little bit.
Walk a Mile, it's a boys' high-heeled relay race, and it's taking place on the corner of Paul W. Bryant and Colonial Drive. It starts at 5 o'clock today, and registration begins at 4:30, so it's not too late to come out and help us raise awareness. But all the money raised will go to Turning Point, which is a local women's shelter for battered women and children.
Now, Jeremiah, tell us how you got involved with this.
Well, Verizon Wireless has carried a banner for being wanting to make the public aware of domestic violence. You quoted some statistics earlier, and in that study, that analysis said that 64 women in the state of Alabama were killed by men, and it was done in a violent manner. Now, 38 of those women were women that range from the age of 18. The average age was 38, but they range from the age of 18 all the way up to the age of 65. And so one of the things that you find is that when you start looking at where domestic violence hit, you talk about, well, where do they go? And part of it is that it occurs within the workplace. And so this is where it becomes an issue for us, because one of 4 women actually will experience some form of domestic violence in their lifetime. And 1 of 5 individuals in the workplace have experienced some form of domestic violence. So when you take a look at those kind of statistics, it then brings you and makes you aware that it's not just an issue out there that stays at home, but it's an issue that comes into the workplace, into businesses. So it's important for businesses to really take a high stand and say, we need to do something about this.
Definitely. Now, Lauren, why is it important for your organization, Alpha Chi Omega Sorority, to raise awareness about domestic violence?
I think it's such a big problem, like Jeremiah was saying, in Alabama, and it's just good to know that there's an event that you can come to, and just gets the word out, and it's a kind of a fun way to raise awareness for such a serious issue with the guys in their high heels and blisters and everything. It's just a small fraction of what it might be like to be a woman in an abusive situation.
Now, this event is tonight. There's also an event coming up in November called Telling Amy's Story. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Telling Amy's Story, the event is going to happen on November the 4th here on the campus of the University of Alabama. And it is a story that doesn't end in a good way. In fact, Amy, who is a former graduate student at Penn State University, is a PBS documentary. And the PBS documentary was done in conjunction with Penn State University. And what it does is that it chronicles the life of a graduate student who is also an employee of Verizon Wireless, who through a long-term relationship with her husband, which started off as a boyfriend, he returns back from the military, and because of different things that go on in their life, he ends up killing her. In fact, he killed her in the house as her 2 sons and her mother and father were outside in the car waiting for her to return. And so what we want to do is to say, all domestic violence relationships do not have to end this tragically. So if we can somehow find a way of communicating to people to understand what are the signs, what are the things that you need to watch out for, we think that we've done a significant value to society.
Wow, very interesting story there, and we appreciate both of you being here with us today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, you can go to the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event today. The walk starts and ends at the Alpha Chi Omega House on the University of Alabama campus. Registration begins at 4:30. The walk starts at 5. For more information, call 205-344-2281. You can also find more online at alphachiua.com.